Oh, it's me again. You're getting so sick of seeing me, aren't you? Um, Rocking my mum ponytail and looking kind of like ass today. But anyway, so yesterday I went to my accountant for the first time to do my tax since being involved with Herbalife and making money, and it was a bit of an eye-opener. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I feel like it's something that's not really talked about in network marketing, which is it's kind of frustrating because everyone starts and they're asking me questions. Do I need to declare? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm asking people that have been in this business 15 years or so, and they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, no, we want some answers. So I asked a lot of questions. We went through my tax and everything was fine. I didn't have a tax debt or anything, which was pretty cool. But it also opened my eyes. There is so much that I'm not keeping track of properly, that I'm not tracking what's coming in and out very well. So I definitely know that's something I need to work on. But there was also things that I didn't have information for, which I could have claimed as well. But now, don't quote me on this. I'm not an accountant or anything, but I'm just trying to give you some information. Obviously, you should go and have your appointment with your accountant and check up. And I don't know if yours does something different or whatever, but basically what she explained to me was when you're earning under $75,000, you don't have to do the GST. So a lot of us starting out, unless we're at that, high level get team going into mill team and above, we don't have to worry about the GST yet, that's comforting to know because that's a whole other kettle of fish I'm not ready to deal with. But basically, July last year, I got my first check and it's just continued to grow from there. So I did, when we click over the $10,000 and Herbalife asks you for an ABN, you have to go and get an ABN, then you have to register that with Herbalife, and that means they give you all of your money. They don't withhold any tax. That also means you have to start putting your tax aside because you may have to end up paying tax at the end of the year because obviously you're getting these checks and you're not having any tax coming out, but everyone has to pay tax, right? So you have to make sure you're putting some away. So what my mentor Mark Paulson said as president's team, you should be putting away a third of what's coming in as your put away for tax. And more than likely, you are not going to need all that money at the end of the year. You might be like me. I've been putting money away, and I now don't have a tax debt. So now I can use that money for other cool stuff. But actually, no, I won't. I'll just roll over and keep saving for next year. But it's pretty much like forced savings. So you're saving it in case you need to pay it back for tax. And if you don't, awesome, go and buy lots of shoes. But so that's the first thing. You should definitely be putting away whatever you're earning. You need to be tracking everything, every order. So you can see it on BizWorks and stuff, but you really need to set up an Excel spreadsheet because what you're going to need at the end of tax time, you're going to need to know exactly what any checks have been. You're going to need to know exactly how many retail sales, how much you've made off them, how much shipping you've been paying for them if you're like me and you foot the shipping for your clients sometimes, which I will not be doing from now on after I actually added up how much money has cost me doing that. Don't do that. Just hot tip. So yeah, you need to be tracking absolutely every order that comes in, how much profit you make off that order, how much shipping it costs. You need to be keeping receipts for absolutely everything, which luckily we did this year. About August last year when I had to, I made my $10,000 in royalties and they said, give us an ABN. I actually went out and opened a business account. So I went down to my local bank, said, I need an account specifically for my business with a card attached. So what happens is all my payments from any clients, any retail sales, all of my checks go into that account so it can track the incoming, like what I'm actually getting paid. And then every time I order any products, every time I have to go and buy stamps or printing ink, or I have to pay for a training or any flights to go over to a training, anytime I have to at a training, go out for a meal or something while that training's going on. Anytime I have to meet any of my team to run trainings with them and we buy coffee, everything goes through that card. Any parking, like literally anything. I'll read through the list of everything I claimed shortly, but basically you have your personal life, and when you want to go have an underwear shopping spree at Cotton On Body, that goes through your personal card, and then absolutely everything else for the business goes through the business card. So that way it's all in one spot at the end of the year, and you can literally just forward that account statement to your accountant. So we started that in August, so we still had to go through all our bank statements and everything previously, because we've been doing a lot of it got muddled in with our personal stuff with credit cards and things. So definitely glad we got that business account set up. So if you haven't done that already and you've made a couple of $100s with Herbalife, just do yourself a favor and go out and get a business account right now. You can claim any interest or any fees or charges on that account. At the end of the year, you can actually claim back. So it's like nothing's stopping you to do that. It just makes it so much easier as well if clients have just got one account which they just pay into, and you can just track your in and out really, really easily. And sometimes that can be a little bit scary as well, but it's better to know straight up where you're at financially than waiting to the end of the financial year and being like, oh my God, I made a lot, but I also spent a lot. So that just saved you. So pretty much you can, the tax-free threshold is around $18,000 to $20,000 depending, she said, depending on different something or other dependencies or whatever. But pretty much I made like $30-something thousand. And with all the travel that we've done and the rent for office space and promotions and, you know, parking and trainings and everything else that we've paid for, I was actually able to depreciate everything right down. It's our first year in business, mind you, so there's been a lot of things happening. I was able to get under that $18,000 threshold, so I actually didn't have to pay any tax back. So that's pretty much what you do, and that's why you see a lot of people organising their tax, which I never got. It's like the 30th of July and they're like, end of financial year. And I was like, so? It doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does. So now I understand that. And I'm like excited. It makes sense. So pretty much say someone's made $50,000 and they've got, you know, 25,000. Yeah, so what am I saying? So they made $50,000 and they've figured out, they've gone through their paperwork and they're going to be able to depreciate $25,000 of that. So they may be left with a little bit amount that's going to be, they're going to have to pay some tax debt. Say they've been thinking, oh, we need a new tractor for our business. They can actually go out, buy the tractor before June 30th, and then it'll come down, so they won't have a tax debt. Does that make sense? So that's why everyone gets mad and goes out and buys cars on the last day of the financial year, because they're trying to reduce that tax debt. Having said that, it is important to pay tax, and I understand that now. Paying tax is what helps my son have all his autism funding and helps his therapists get all their funding, and the schools, and, you know, some simple things like the paints at Holly's kindergarten, being on the governing council. I understand how important little bits of funding like that is. So I'm fine with paying tax. Let me say that first of all. And you should be too, because that is what keeps our world going around. Yeah, that's what keeps them fixing. Oh my God, I would say about the roads, but the roads in Bros are actually awful. They are so bad. But it's important to pay tax, and you've just got to be okay with that. This time, fortunately, it's been a quite expensive travel year for us, so we didn't have to pay any tax because we depreciated quite a few $1,000s worth of travel costs. Anyway, so I'm going to run through quickly what different categories I claimed for, so that's something you can start thinking about for next year, and you can start tracking it. But yeah, I'll definitely get a bank account, keep every single receipt, and either get someone to do your bookkeeping and outsource it to an accountant, which is what my mentor Canada does, or dedicate a couple of hours every week or so, every month, to sit down and get all your shit together. Because trust me, it's going to make it so much easier than spending a week at the end of financial year going, where is everything? So just get on top of it. And that way you're also tracking your business. It's time to treat it like a business. And you might be watching this thinking, oh, but I've only got 2 clients. I'm only like 2 months in business and I made $150, which is really cool. But I don't need to worry about that yet. Guess what? In a couple of months, you could be earning $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month. This business has the potential to move so fast. And trust me, you want to get your processes in, and you don't need to know what you're doing from the start. How easy is it to manage 2 or 3 clients and get that under ordering and get familiar with what you're doing and tracking it, than it is at 150 clients to just go like, oh, better start figuring out what I'm actually doing. No, do it right now when you've got minimal clients and get the practice in and get really, really good at it. Okay, so what I claimed, I was able to claim all the cost of my trainings. So every time I went to, I bought a kickoff ticket, our spectacular tickets, extravaganza. We've got the training coming up in Melbourne. We paid for everything back in it was early May for all of that training so that we could claim it this financial year. So all your training costs, promotions. So we do a lot of promotions for our team, and we've done a few when they reach a certain level, we'll take them out to dinner, or we've paid for them to get a pedicure or a massage, or we've even given them some like vouchers to go shopping at places they would enjoy. So that all comes under promotions. We've also actually got a lot of wine. When I started to add that up, I'm like, we've used wine a lot, but food expenses. So this is when we were actually at trainings and had to purchase food on the training day, which didn't happen often. And then while we were in Singapore traveling, that actually happened quite a lot, obviously, because I wasn't cooking from our tiny apartment. So that was all our food expenses. So we kept everything. Also, you have to have paper receipts. So if you've got any emails or you've got your bank statements, that's fine, but you do have to print it all. Everything has to be on paper, because if you get audited, they don't care about what's on your computer or what's saved in a file. Like, you've got to have it there that you can, here it all is. Parking. So parking was a big one. I think the first time I went and down to a training and paid for parking, I ended up being like $32. So I was like, so I always kept track of parking. You can always get a receipt these days, or like I said, use your business account. You can pre-book parking at Booker Bay with Wilson Car Parks in Adelaide, and it's like $8.50 for your training day. So also, if you didn't know about that, that's really cool. So all our parking costs, our demonstration consumables. So this is for times when we've been doing shake parties and demonstrations for our team. You can claim those products as long as they are, like, we have a full ultimate skin set which we use for demonstrations, and a full ultimate and rebuild program that we use to go out and do shake parties for people and do it. We go to Fit Club and we do masterclasses and things like that. So that's demonstration consumables. So you can claim that back. Just be really clear in documenting it. Postage. So every time you go to the post office, you can, I think you can hear my son playing the iPad in the background. Every time you go to the post office to buy stamps, if you've got to email a personal workbook or registration forms out for weight loss challenges or anything, all of that can be claimable. Also, as well, if you're footing the bill for any of if you're like got a client interstate, you're just ordering a whole bunch of products and you're like, oh, you did so awesome, you've lost 5 kilos already, I'm going to pay for your shipping. So you pay for her shipping to go over there, but you can actually keep track of that and claim that at the end of the year. Resources as well. So I've bought a lot of books to educate myself personal development wise, and just in general health and nutrition and business marketing and personal branding and stuff. So you can actually claim those resources books. Once again, document everything with the date, because they will want the date. Advertising costs. So we have paid occasionally for some Facebook advertising. We've had flyers distributed and put out, newspaper ads, Gumtree ads and things like that. So we were able to claim those advertising costs. Stationery was actually really scary when I added it all up. Printing ink, paper, highlighters, folders, ring binders, any laminating, anything like that can all be claimed. That's why when I actually added that up earlier in the year, I saw how much printing ink was costing us, and I was like, oh my God. So we actually went and paid to have our flyers professionally printed, which we could claim back anyway. And she did a fantastic job. It saved us a good couple of $1,000s this year with our flyers. So Lauren Dillon Designs, she's incredible. Travel expenses. So your flights and accommodations, keep in mind you can only claim for the days you are actually attending training. So anything that happens on the days where you weren't training, or so say you went to the LA extravaganza, you can claim everything for the days of training, but you cannot claim the 3 weeks you stayed and went to Vegas after. Common sense, right? So flights and accommodation, you can claim your food and all your taxi and transport while you're over there on the days of training. Home office, so you can, this is where it got a bit blurry, and I'm waiting to hear back a bit more information about this, but your home office, because my home office is my bed. my bed or my kitchen table. So she said something about how many square feet you use in your house. So I was like, the whole thing? I don't know. But so you can claim, when you're working from home, you can claim a portion of your electricity, of your, you know, your power, everything pretty much. When you're in network marketing, pretty much 90% of what you do in your life is taxable income. So it's declarable. But you can tax most of it. Anyway, so there is the home office one. I'm still waiting for a bit more clarification. I do understand that if we are making a lot of money from home, there may be some capital gains involved when the house is sold. And also, if you were, say, up in Cairns and you're storing stock and products and stuff in your garage, you can claim, you know, that as storage space. Or if you're working around your house, in the different areas, you run demonstrations from your kitchen, you do skin parties in your bathroom, lots of that can be claimed. So I would say talk to your individual accountant about that. Yeah, so home office was also our laptop. So we bought a really brand new fancy laptop, which I'm coming to you from today. Can you tell how amazing it is? Not really. So that actually cost us a lot of money, and we were able to get that rid straight away. She also said something about this particular financial year coming up, so 16 to 17. If you buy a purchase under $20,000, if you're a small business, you can actually instant depreciate it instead of depreciating it over a couple of years or something. So she said that's really, really good. Her other hot tip as well, if you get a brand new car and you run a small business, it's like amazing tax-wise. You can write off batteries and, you know, your servicing, your fuel, absolutely everything. So that's a whole nother thing to talk about. Clothing. So any clothing that because we are use wear talk, encouraged to be branded 24/7, like it's not compulsory, but it is definitely encouraged. All of the clothing and the promotional materials that you purchase from Herbalife are claimable. So your Herbalife t-shirts or your workout gear or the leggings or anything, totally claimable. We also have bought a whole bunch of clothes that we have actually taken to the embroiderer to be branded with the little Herbalife nutrition on it. So we were able to claim the cost of the clothes plus the embroidery. I believe some other people I've heard are able to claim sneakers and stuff. Our particular tax accountant didn't feel comfortable doing that, so I'm not sure about the exact ruling on that. So if anyone has any information, that would be awesome. Let me know. Phone and internet. So obviously absolutely everything is pretty much done on our phones and internet. When she was asking me how much do you actually use, I was just like, you're never going to believe me, but it's almost 24/7. How much, like, what percentage do you use? And she's like, no, I'm like probably 90%, apart from calling my grandma every now and again. Everyone else is a client, so every phone call is a follow-up pretty much. But if you are going to claim such a high amount, you do have to track it. So what you have to do is take 3 months of phone bills or phone records or whatever, or, you know, you have to be keeping track of how many hours you are spending actually doing your business, which all comes back to our focus group. And if you're doing your daily itineraries and everything, you'll know this anyway, but keeping track of how many hours you are actually doing that will give you something if you ever got audited to be like, well, actually, this is how much work I do. It is all run online. I have an international business from my laptop, my phone, on my bed with the pile of washing. Like, this is the reality of it. So you just have to be able to prove that, I guess. So phone and internet, and also any rent space or any cleaning for those rent spaces. So we rented a lifestyle centre for a little while down in Gawler, and now we rent a space a couple of nights a week up here in the Barossa. So we can claim back those rent costs. We do all the cleaning ourselves, so we didn't have to claim anything. You can also claim your Herbalife membership. So the $13 or the $50 or something like that, or $89.95 that it is each year to keep your membership, all gets claimed back. Any kilometres in and out to trainings. Oh no, this is where it got exciting. Sorry. Any memberships, your BizWorks, you can claim back. Anytime you drive to drop off products, do a wellness evaluation, go to Fit Club, drive down to the warehouse, go to a training, go to Why Herbalife, Why Now, drive down the street to put posters up. You can claim every single kilometre if you keep track of it properly. So what that means is having a logbook and then logging for, she said, at least a minimum of 3 months, so they can average out. 3 months, you have to log every single time you get in the car, the odometers, every single time you get out the car, the odometers. But do it for 3 months, and she said that could be a huge, huge, huge part of your tax deductions. Because, yeah, like, everything we do, I don't know, like, I can't remember the last time I drove somewhere just to drive somewhere. Got to Aaron's parents, but that's always to chat about Herbalife stuff. Probably my grandma again. Probably to go and see grandma. Maybe to get my hair done, but the last time I did that was 6 weeks ago. I don't know. But yeah, so we pretty much have Aaron's car as our family car and my car as the work car. That way now we can track everything really, really easy. So it does take a little bit of paperwork and planning ahead and thinking and just keeping track of everything. But hello, like, you could run an incredible business and you'd know exactly what your money's doing, what's coming in, what's going out, how much tax you may or may not have to pay. Like, get on top of it, guys. I hope this has answered a couple of questions that some of us may have had. My one bit of advice: get your shit together with an Excel spreadsheet and start tracking your actual business, money-wise, not just volume points and that. Find a really good accountant that you trust. Ask as many questions as you can. When you go in for your tax appointment, it will be more than a standard tax appointment because it's a small business. Just pay it. They are worth their weight in gold. I freaked out when she told me how much it was going to be, but at the end of the day, I didn't have to pay any tax back. Hello, it's worth it. Get a budget in place. I'm going to do another videos on budget because that is another section, but you need to know where your money's coming in and going out, because a lot of people make a lot of money in Herbalife and they spend a lot of money and they're in debt more than the average bloke. So that's something you need to get on top of. And your bookkeeping. If you don't want to deal with the stuff I've just said, if you don't want to deal with spreadsheets and figuring out how much your stationery costs have been, just pay someone else to do it. Just go and get a bookkeeper or an accountant or someone else that's going to do it for you. If you don't enjoy doing it, it means you're not very good at it. Sorry. So it's probably just best to get someone else to take care of it for you. Hope this has helped. Have an awesome weekend, guys.